How are we doing, everybody, and welcome to Russell Heritage Golf. Today we're going to be talking about how to transfer your weight in your golf swing. So we're going to talk briefly about the backswing position. We're going to talk about how to shift the pressure in towards the backswing. But because I've already done a video on that in detail, we're going to talk more now about how to shift the weight coming in towards that downswing position. We're going to talk about how to shift that weight so that you can feel that weight pressure moving in towards that left-hand side. So you can trigger a rotation rather than a slide or a sway, which is a really common amateur problem, which will therefore lead for you to be able to compress the ball much better, hit it better, and enjoy your game so much more. I've got 3 drills which I'm going to share with you as well, which are going to make a massive difference as you can get the feeling as to what it should actually feel like to be able to shift weight and create rotation. And we're also going to have a little look at some professional golf swings as well, so you can see the movements that they create are the same as I'm discussing here on the channel, and that equally you can introduce it into your game as well, as much as I get the guys introducing it to the people I work with on a one-to-one basis. As ever, I want your comments coming into the channel. How does your downswing feel? Do you feel like you struggle to shift weight but also trigger a rotation? That's normally the kind of comment I get from most people that either communicate with me via the channel or social media, but also the people that I teach on a one-to-one basis. Hopefully this video is going to add a lot of clarity as to how to mix the two together so that you can start improving your golf. If you watch the previous video, you'll know that in the backswing my key points are to shift weight early and start triggering a rotation so you feel a load by the time you get to left arm horizontal. The idea is now that we've got to start shifting weight into that downswing. What we see with all of the pros is that by the time they come down and they're in the left arm horizontal in this downswing position, all this weight is on this left hand side. That is going to be the key thing out of today's video. The idea that you swing up to the top and then all your weight's on your right hand side, and then you're trying to shift all that weight into the left hand side is what is going to cause too much of a sliding movement. It needs to be more progressive than that. So the point is that by the time you get to left arm horizontal, you'll feel the weight in this right hand side. From here now, you're going to continue rotating, but we need to help you find a way to actually start to shift weight in towards this left hand side as you're actually completing your backswing position. I've mentioned these analogies before, but if you were going to throw a ball, you'd be going back as you're stepping forward. If you went bowling, you'd be going back with your arm as you're stepping forward. If you played baseball, you'd be swinging back as you step forward. Golf is a side-on sport and therefore should be treated no differently to these athletic movements. So the main thing that we need to get out of this video today is as you're continuing to swing up to the top of the backswing, before you reach completion of the top, you actually need to start shifting into this left-hand side like so. Because as you're gaining momentum coming into that downswing position there, equally, by the time you get to left arm horizontal coming down, the idea is now that we're just going to create a rotation and we're just going to clear our body out of the way. So it's almost going to feel back into the right hand side, turn, fall into the left, rotate out of the way. That's the movement that we need to recreate in your golf swing. And now I've got a couple of drills to share with you to make sure that you understand how to do it. If at any point during the video you're enjoying it, I always appreciate a thumbs up and a like. Equally, you press that subscribe button, press the little bell icon as well. You'll receive notifications every time a new video comes out. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 drills that you need to get this sense of weight transfer coming correctly in towards this downswing position. Again, I've already documented 3 drills on the backswing position. You can watch that video if you like after this one, or again, you can snip over. But now I'm going to put more emphasis in towards this downswing position itself. So the first drill is just an athletic movement. We're trying to go back to a side-on sport. We're trying to create that athleticism again. And I've done this one before. Again, it's an oldie but a goodie, and it's a step-in drill. The idea is that you're going to start about a foot to the right of the ball. You're going to have your feet together. As soon as you start swinging that club back, you're going to plant your left foot forward, a bit Happy Gilmore-ish. But what this will do is it will help you feel that momentum change. So rather than swinging up to the top and kind of pausing and then trying to start everything at the same rate in the downswing, we're starting to get this feeling that we're shifting in towards this left-hand side as I'm actually still going up to the top of the backswing. It might take you a few goes to get coordination with this drill, but once you can introduce it, you're actually going to start to notice the way you can hit the ball further doing this drill than you currently normally would in your full swing. So it's kind of start a foot to the right of the ball, step, rotate, and from there I'm emphasising all my weight is going into that left hand side, so early coming in towards this downswing position. This drill is actually quite simple for you to introduce straight away and actually to make a big difference. The thing that needs to happen in the downswing, and you should start to notice from the stepping in drill, and it's exactly the same as if you were to throw a ball, is when you're putting pressure in towards that left hand side, the left knee is starting to create flexion. This is really important because if the left leg starts to straighten too soon, your pelvis is going to get tilted and you're going to get stuck behind the ball. So it's never going to allow you to rotate like you want to in your golf swing. So we know that the left knee needs to create flexion coming in towards the downswing, which is why I'd suggest that in your setup position, you quite simply just allow your left foot to be kind of 45 degrees facing more towards the target. The ankle doesn't possess much mobility, which is why with a lot of pros that do have it forward facing, we tend to see the foot spinning coming through that hitting area. For you guys, I want to see this feeling of putting pressure in towards that left hand side. If you get the left foot more forward facing towards the target, the left knee is going to find it easy to be able to flex more towards the target as well. This is going to help you get more of a feeling of putting pressure down in towards the ground more this way as opposed to doing this way. The drill is actually quite simple. Just get the left foot more forward facing. That's going to allow the knee to kind of create more flexion, which is going to give you more freedom to keep rotating those hips. The last little drill again is a nice simple one. It's something that you can do around the house, but the idea is that once we take our posture, our belt buckle should be downward facing towards the ball. When we swing back, it will stay downward facing towards the ball. As we come in towards this downswing position, as soon as you start to shift onto this left-hand side, to help create a rotation, we need the belt buckle to stay downward facing. So my belt buckle is still pointing down towards the ball. This helps my left hip create rotation, which basically means from here, I can get out of the way and hit the ball. If you don't get that second drill, or that last drill correct. So if you start to create too much of a slide, the belt buckle will go more horizontally placed. It means you get stuck and you're going to get flippy and slidey. Or you're just going to create too much of a sway if you move this way. If you can piece together that left knee and that belt buckle downward facing, you're going to start to feel a massive increase in weight pressure in towards that left heel coming into that downswing position, but it's also going to help you trigger a rotation. So then once you get accustomed to these moves, you're going to be able to swing this way, pressure into the left, and then just clear out the way. Okay, the key points out of today. We discussed briefly about this sort of takeaway and backswing position. It's because I'd already discussed it in more detail on a previous video that I've done, which again I've suggested you can watch if you want to see that in more detail. But the idea is that you're trying to shift weight as soon as you can, and you're trying to trigger a rotation so you can get a sense of load by the time you're at left arm horizontal. The key things out of today's video and the discussion that we've been trying to get this weight transfer working better in this downswing is that by the time you're getting to left arm horizontal, as you continue your club's journey up, this is when I want to start shifting more pressure in towards the left-hand side. That was key tip number one. Key tip number two was understanding the flexion on the left knee and the more forward-facing foot position. This basically allows you now to put pressure down into the ground, so to transfer your weight in towards that left-hand side as you're coming into that downswing position. This is going to be that key tip number two, understanding this and this movement. That third tip really that again I want you to understand is the belt buckle, because if you can get back to this position, start to shift weight as you're swinging back, allow the left knee to flex, and then get the feeling that the belt buckle stays downward facing, then you're going to naturally clear through the ball. That is going to happen naturally. You're naturally going to finish like a professional golfer with all the weight on the left hand side in that through swing position. So what's really important to understand out of this video is actually how to transfer your weight in your golf swing. There's a shift very early on in that right hand side. Before you get to the top of your backswing, this is when you want to feel that progressive fall into the left. And then from there, as long as you get this rotation coming down and you don't continue to slide this way, then from here, you can just get out the way and swing through the ball. That is something that will naturally come to you. The reason why you feel like you don't transfer your weight correctly in your golf swing is more just due to the fact that you get the transitional area wrong. Like I said earlier, means you'll be doing something more like this, or more like this, or whatever it might be, but that's where you get a mess. So if you can focus on those three key tips, I guarantee you're going to see an improvement in your game. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully it adds a lot of clarity to some of those questions you might have had as to why you don't transfer your weight correctly in your golf swing. Those key points are essential for you to introduce those into your game, because as we saw from the video, that is exactly what the professional golfers are doing too. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As I mentioned earlier, always appreciate a like. You can press that subscribe button if you want to as well, so you receive the notifications, and I'll catch up with you again tomorrow.